So here's another interesting fusion of different psychoanalytic theories. This one is combined with humanism, and it involves the work of Eric Fromm. Picture of him. Eric Fromm's basic thesis is that modern day people have been torn away from their prehistoric union with nature and with one another. Yet have the power of reasoning, foresight, and imagination. This lack of animal instincts and the presence of irrational thought makes humans freaks of nature, in a sense. Self-awareness contributes to feelings of isolation, loneliness, and homelessness. To escape from these feelings, people strive to become reunited with nature and with their fellow human beings. Fromm's humanistic psychoanalysis assumes that humanity's separation from the natural world has produced feelings of loneliness and isolation, a condition he called basic anxiety. Fromm was very interested in historical and cultural perspectives on human nature, not just psychological ones. The changes in the human condition led to feelings of anxiety, isolation, and powerlessness. Of course, the cost is freedom, and this cost far exceeds the benefits. Humans have two alternatives: to escape from freedom into interpersonal dependencies, especially on other people, and to move to self-realization through productive love and work. So one's effective and one's ineffective. Fromm was a classically trained analyst. He founded the International Institute of Social Research in Geneva, Switzerland, lectured at the Chicago Psychoanalytic Institute, practiced in New York, had a relationship with Karen Horney that we already talked about, was a professor of psychiatry at Michigan State University and died in 1980. Influenced by very important people, including humanistic rabbis, the revolutionary spirit of Karl Marx, the equally revolutionary ideas of Sigmund Freud, obviously he was a psychoanalyst, the rationality of Zen Buddhism, and the writings of Johann Jacob Bachenfen on matriarchal societies. Some of the basic assumptions are important. You must understand individual personality in terms of human history. We've minimized our adaptive instincts. I think if you were left to your own devices, would you survive? We have no powerful instinct to adapt to the changing world. Instead, we've acquired a facility to reason called the human dilemma. Humans face fundamental dichotomies or splits. The first is life and death. The second is that humans can conceptualize a goal of complete self-realization, but are aware that life is too short to reach that goal, another dichotomy. The third is that people are ultimately alone, and we cannot tolerate this isolation. The human needs are vital. Only distinctive human needs can move people toward reunion with the natural world. These existential needs have emerged during the evolution of human culture, growing out of the attempts to find answers in their existence and to avoid becoming insane. Healthy individuals are better able to find ways to reunite with the world productively, solving human needs of relatedness. There are three basic ways to be related: submission, that is search for a domineering partner; power, to search for a submissive partner; love, the only route to become united with the world and help with persons achieve individuality and integrity. And the last is the four elements of genuine love: care, responsibility, respect, and knowledge. And they must be accomplished in that order. Transcendence is the urge to rise above a passive and accidental existence and into a realm of purposefulness and freedom. Rootedness is the need to establish roots or to feel at home in the world again. Without rootedness, the feelings of isolation and hopelessness can become unbearable and set us adrift. Can be productive or unproductive in separation from the mother or not, called fixation. A sense of identity, the capacity to be aware of ourselves as separate entities. Historically, humans identified more closely with their clan and did not see themselves as existing apart from the group. Nowadays, people identify attachments with institutions. A frame of orientation being split off from nature, human need roadmap to make their way through the world. We need to put things into a framework. A roadmap without a goal is a destination, or a destination is worthless. It's a map. So from Fromm's human needs, you can either have negative or positive components, and they're listed in the chart. The burden of freedom results from being torn away from nature, yet remaining in the world with the same physical limitations as other animals. As children become more independent from their mothers, they gain more freedom to express their individuality. However, at the same time, they experience the burden of freedom, that is, the loss of security from the mother. This is called basic anxiety. There are three primary mechanisms of escape. Authoritarianism is one of them. The tendency to give up the independence of one's own individual self to fuse with another self, with somebody or something outside of oneself in order to acquire the strength what the individual is lacking. This can happen with a powerful partner, and it's called masochism. Or it can happen by being dominated by, in the unity of another person, called sadism, by controlling or exploiting others. Destructiveness is another primary mechanism of escape, rooted in feelings of being alone, isolation, and powerlessness, and it seeks to do away with other people, destroying others to acquire a feeling of lost power. The third primary mechanism is conformity. People conform to try to escape from a sense of aloneness and isolation by giving up their individuality and becoming whatever other people desire them to be. The more they conform, the more powerless they feel. The more powerless they feel, the more they must conform. It's a vicious cycle. People can break the cycle of conformity and powerlessness by achieving self-realization and positive freedom. Positive freedom can be attained by the individual's spontaneous and full expression of their rational and emotional potential. It is successful in the solution of the human dilemma by being part of the natural world and maintaining individuality. Love and work are the twin components of positive freedom. Character orientations are important. The person's relatively permanent way of relating to people and things, the totality of inherited or acquired psychic qualities which are characteristic of one individual and make up their unique. We've talked about these already in terms of a general definition. People relate to the world in two ways: by acquiring using things called assimilation, or by relating to self and others called socialization. And these things happen productively or non-productively. Non-productive orientations include receiving things passively. Receptive characters feel that the source of all goods lie outside of themselves, that they can only relate to the world by receiving things like love, knowledge, or material possessions. Receiving is better than giving. Negative qualities include passivity, submissiveness, a lack of self-confidence. Positive qualities include loyalty, acceptance, and trust. Exploiting others is another non-productive orientation, or taking things through force. Exploiting the character believes that the source of all good is outside of them, yet they act aggressively to take what they desire, rather than passively receiving it. Like to steal from others. Negative qualities include egocentrism, conceitedness, arrogance, and seducing. Positive qualities include impulsivity, pride, charm, and self-confidence. Hoarding is another non-productive means. Hoarding characters seek to save that which they have already attained. They hold everything inside and do not let go of anything. They, in a sense, focus on what is not alive. Negative qualities include rigidity, sterility, obstinance, compulsivity, and a lack of creativity. Positive qualities include hoarding, or orderliness, cleanliness, and punctuality. And the last non-productive orientation is marketing or exchanging things. Market characters see themselves as commodities with their personal value development on the exchange value and their ability to sell themselves. They have shaky personal security and adjust to fit in what others want. Negative qualities include aimlessness, opportunistic competence, and wastefulness, while positive qualities include changeability, mindedness, adaptability, and generosity. There are productive orientations, though. The single productive orientation has three dimensions: work, love, reasoning. The individual works toward positive freedom and their realization of their potential. Only through productive activity can people solve their basic human function dilemma, that is, to unite with the world and others while attaining uniqueness and individuality. Healthy people work not as an end in itself, but as a means to creative expression. Healthy people have biophilia, a passionate love of life and all that is alive. Self-love and love of others is inseparable, but that self-love must come first. In summary, Fromm believed that healthy people rely on some combination of all five orientations. Their survival as a healthy individual depends on their ability to receive things from people, to take things when appropriate, to preserve things, to exchange things, and to work, love, and think productively. Personality disorders are marked by problems in these areas of work, love, thought, and especially in love. Psychologically disturbed people are incapable of love and have failed to establish union with others. There are some orientations like necrophilia, attraction to death, and the opposite of biophilia. Necrophilic personalities hate humanity. They are racist, warmongers, bullies. They love bloodshed, destruction, terror, and torture, and they delight in destroying life. They are strong advocates of law and order, love to talk about sickness, death, and burials, and are fascinated by dirt, decayed corpses, and feces. They prefer day to night and love the night to day, and love to operate in darkness and in the shadow. All people behave aggressively and destructively at times, but the entire lifestyle of the necrophilous person revolves around death, destruction, disease, and decay. So it's a matter of degree. There are malignant narcissists interested in themselves so that this thinking impedes the perception of reality so that everything belongs to a narcissistic person is highly valued and everything belonging to another is devalued. They have a preoccupation with body, and it can lead to hypochondriasis or can lead to moral hypochondriasis when preoccupation is guilt. Their sense of self-worth depends on the narcissistic self-image and not on achievements. When their efforts are criticized by others, they react with anger and rage, frequently striking out against critics or trying to destroy them. If the criticism is overwhelming, they may be unable to destroy it and turn to rage inward, resulting in depression and feelings of worthlessness. Incestuous symbiosis is an extreme dependence on a mother or mother surrogate. It can be an exaggerated form of a mother fixation. They are inseparable from the host person. They are blended together. The individual feels frightened and anxious when their relationship is threatened. The attraction to death, taking pleasure in destroying others, and neurotic symbiosis with mother figures form what is called the syndrome of decay, while biophilia, love in positive form, comprise what's called the syndrome of growth. And finally, psychotherapy. He believed that the aim of therapy is for the patient to come to know themselves, as is true in most therapies. Without knowing yourself, we cannot know other people. Because communication is so important, Fromm believed that the therapist must relate as one human being to another, the utterance, utter concentration, and utter sincerity. Incidentally, we're not getting ahead of ourselves here, but this is the foundation totally of humanism. This is accomplished through talking, through dreams, through fairy tales and myths. Some examples of Fromm's work include the Mexican Village Study and his psychohistory of Adolf Hitler. Keep in mind, all this happened during the post-war era. So there you go. That's the end of psychoanalysis, ending with on a positive note and onward to humanism.